is de brug van pijn. De weg naar Rikers Island, een gevangeniseiland in de East River van New York City. Bijnaam Torture Island, foltereiland. Bijna 6000 gevangenen zitten er hier. Het overgrote deel in voorarrest, voor hun proces over schuld of onschuld.
Judges and DAs continue to set bails on pretrial cases that people just simply cannot afford. So the more people that are being incarcerated, the worse the conditions are getting.
Simone Spirik is vaak op Rikers als sociaal werker. Ze zag de toestand er nog verergeren sinds corona.
I think at least 50% of the incarcerated population in the New York City jails has a diagnosed mental health concern. And because of the pandemic, a lot of the services had stopped or running at a very limited capacity. So people aren't getting toothbrushes or toothpaste. People are sleeping in the same sheets for weeks at a time, or dirty underwear or clothing. I met with someone who hadn't been outside in months. And he stands in the corner of his unit with the sun, with the window that's closest to the sun, so he can feel like he's outside for a little bit because he has not stepped foot outside in months.
Osha zat al 2 keer opgesloten in Rikers voor kleine misdrijven als daklozen.
I was in an intake pen by myself, and it was dirty. Water everywhere, feces and urine everywhere, food trash everywhere, and things like that. So it was really dirty, like, and nowhere to stay. Like, so you're standing in pee and the feces and the urine and stuff like that.
Asha is zwart en transgender. Dat maakt het nog lastiger in een gevangenis als Rikers, waar ze 4 maanden vastzat.
They pick on you, they try to bully you, extort you, try to punk you over. I experienced being attacked by like inmates, officers. I seen officers get attacked. I seen inmates get attacked by inmates, officers get attacked by officers. Yeah, I seen that. Things are getting bad.
The tour of Rikers Island that I took was one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life. It was shocking. Cells crammed with 25 people when they were meant to hold 7 or 8. So many people in a cell that they had to take turns lying down on the floor to sleep. And people were held in those conditions for upwards of 2 weeks often.
Politici in New York laten de toestand op Rikers al vele decennia voortetteren. Burgemeester de Blasio geeft na 8 jaar burgemeesterschap zijn onmacht toe.
I was upset when I took office. I was upset 4 years ago. I remain upset. This is a place that should have been shut down a long, long time ago.
Some conservative people might say, well, look, this is a democratically run city, and they don't do a thing about those people they say they protect.
I think that's a very good point to make. You know, I don't count myself among conservatives, but on that point I would agree. You know, it is, you know, we're failing I think we're failing as a people. As a city who calls ourselves progressive and pretends to care about everyone who lives here, we are failing entirely.
Hey, hon, how are you? I'm fine.
How's everything?
Good.
I want to come by and give you...
Pamela Roth komt op bezoek bij haar cliënte Lizandre Cadu. Pamela is advocaat en heeft een schadeclaim ingediend bij de stad New York. De zoon van Lizandre, Stefan, 24, overleed 2 maanden geleden op Rikers Island op een gevangenisboot. Hij zat vast op beschuldiging van moord en stierf na een epileptische aanval.
Other inmates in the cell were screaming out for correction officers to come to assist him, to give him medical attention. And they refused to, and they ignored him. And the reasoning for that is that they're short-staffed and that so many inmates call out for medical attention when nothing is wrong because they feel that they want attention. He died because of Rikers Island and because of the correction officers' neglect.
Voor Lizandre is het een tijd van strijd en verdriet.
My perfectly healthy son died in that place just because they
they're not doing the proper things there. They're not giving these people the proper things they need. They don't have the proper tools to keep this place going. So of course, I'm just mad. I'm beyond angry. I want that boat to sink. I want Rikers Island to just disappear. Like, you shouldn't be punished and your life taken away. You don't punish your kids or discipline them and kill them and not be held accountable for it.
De maatschappij lijkt niet te geven om het lot van de gevangenen. 14 mensen stierven dit jaar al in hun cel.
There is a history in this country and in this city of, over-incarcerating people of color, and the racism simply cannot be ignored. And once a Black person in particular is charged with a crime, it's really easy to just toss them in a cell and nobody cares.
Talloos veel verhalen zijn er over cipiers die zich misdragen of hun macht misbruiken. Verhalen over een verkrachte gevangene of het niet ingrijpen als gevangenen elkaar te lijf gaan. De macht van de vakbond van de cipiers is zeer groot.
Rikers Island is plagued with individuals that get arrested for pushing people in front of subway trains, that rob old ladies in hallways, that are selling crack and heroin, okay, and murdering people.
Many of the same officers are repeatedly disciplined. Often what we will see is that there are a series of violent incidents, and after a year or sometimes even 2, that officer will receive discipline, but it will be losing some vacation days. Not more than that, not taken off of units, not retrained, not fired. They just lose some vacation days years after doing repeated assaults on people.
Rikers is een vuile schandvlek op het progressieve imago van New York. Verdwijnt de ellende als Rikers ook verdwijnt.
I know they're talking about closing down Rikers Island and wanting to put the inmates into smaller community jails all around the 5 boroughs. That's not going to fix the problem. What that does is it takes the cancer that is currently at Rikers Island and it spreads it out so that you have small clusters of cancers in smaller communities. That's not the problem. The problem is the mentality of the correction officers and how they treat the inmates. That has to be fixed before you could shut it down.
The number in New York City that we spend per incarcerated person is $447,000 annually per person. And what we have always been advocating is decarcerate, take that money and invest in education, treatment, housing, whatever it is that is causing people to end up in the situation. And with $500,000 per person, the options are endless.